Please stand by for audio. Please stand by 1 moment for audio.
I'll just repeat what I said toward the end of the last video, and then I'll continue with my point. So I was saying that if you're not successful, I mean, if I die, then it's just then it's going to be about just you being successful or not being successful, not about us, right? So if I die, then I want to leave you with something else that you could do, which I would do with you, or I would do with whoever wanted to join me if I survive that long. But if I don't, I'm going to leave you with this suggestion now, so that if I die, you will have this thing to do as an alternative. Okay, so this would be an alternative you could try to have implemented if you're unsuccessful in getting all cell towers removed. Okay. So the alternative, besides living 24/7 in a Faraday cage, which of course is an option that would feel too much like prison, as a better alternative, you could demand that cell towers have installed in them a sort of fuse. So this would be a physical, mechanical, not electronic trigger that, if set off by a too high frequency or power surge, it would physically break a circuit in the tower and stop it from further transmitting. Now, if health permits, I will post my next video at the latest sometime in autumn 2024. Or it could be sooner. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll be notified as soon as the next video appears, or whenever.
I want to add something. You'll notice that one of the, or several of the photos in the slideshow that you just witnessed said that these are terrifying truths, right? Okay, now, I don't use that word truth lightly. These are truths. In other words, the truth is that some vehicles are being hacked and crashed, and some cell towers are being hacked and manipulated, okay? Now, as to who's doing it, that is a theory. It has not been proven a fact, all right? However, it is a very strong theory based on lots of strong evidence, direct and indirect, and also on the additional knowledge that I have personally of my brother and the type of person he is and the type of immoral acts he's done in the past. So in my mind, I am 99.9999% certain that he is behind at least some of the hacked towers and at least some of the hacked vehicles, whether those are surface vehicles or aircraft, okay? However, I am 100% sure that it does happen. In other words, it's not just a theory. I'm 100% certain that vehicles do occasionally get hacked and crashed, and cell towers do occasionally get hacked and manipulated. Of that, I am certain. Again, I'm not 100% certain who's behind it. I am 99.9999% certain, but I am 100% sure that it is happening at least some of the time, based on even further additional evidence, based on a lot of research, which you can do some of yourself. Some of it I've highlighted in various videos and podcasts. Others I still have on various screenshots. If you do the same research yourself, you will find enough evidence to convince yourself 100% that these are two major threats, okay? Hacked vehicles and hacked cell towers. These are not just theories, these are facts. This is happening right now, and it's been happening at least for a number of years. As far as the hacked vehicles, it's been happening at least since 2013, which was the year that the American journalist Michael Hastings' Mercedes-Benz was hacked and crashed, okay? If you do the research on that, including a very good article done by Wired magazine and elsewhere, you will find enough evidence to convince yourself 100% that that was a hack and crash, based also on expert opinions on people who know about such matters, okay, including former officials that worked for certain U.S. government agencies that basically said that some of the characteristics of that crash were completely what's to be expected in a hack and crash. Okay, so the point is, and as far as cell towers go, also there's tons of evidence from very good sources that they do get hacked and manipulated in a number of different ways. So these things do happen. These are facts. Some individual incidents may be theories, and that certain individual incidents of hacking may not have been proven yet to be factual. However, again, even for those, the evidence is extremely strong in the 99% range that those specific incidents, whether certain suspicious crashes or certain hacks of towers, when a number of people suffered headaches in the same area and other symptoms. For example, the 18 Toronto school teachers in 2023 that refused to go to their jobs, to school, for a number of days because of at least one nearby hacked cell tower. Now, the media didn't call it a hacked cell tower, but that is the most reasonable explanation why that cell tower was giving them problems. Okay, because according to my research, that cell tower was there before and it didn't give them problems. So it didn't just magically pop up and start giving them problems. It already existed. There were no new cell towers close to them that could have been responsible for it. And even if there had been, if they had been functioning correctly like all the other towers, that wouldn't have been a problem. Okay? Because again, cell towers only cause problems when they're hacked. When people like myself and another 4% of the population get symptoms from headaches, especially headaches, but symptoms from cell towers, especially headaches, but other symptoms also. When we get these symptoms, it's because of a hacked cell tower, not a properly functioning cell tower. If the cell tower is working properly, most of us do not experience any symptoms. Okay, this can be proven in a number of ways, including it can be proven that those of us who have suffered brain damage from this, there are MRI scans that show a characteristic pattern of brain damage that can only be caused by radio waves or microwaves, which are the exact same type of waves under two different names. Cell towers emit radio waves, okay? Just remember that. Now, when you put all the evidence together, most of the specific incidences that I mention in my videos or in my podcasts or in my writings, most of those incidents, if you look at the evidence for them, you will probably, like myself, become 99% convinced that those specific incidents were also hacks, okay? So in other words, extremely strong theories. Now, if you wait to be 100% sure about every incident, if that's the way the legal system worked, very few people would ever be convicted and put into jail. Most people who are convicted of crimes are convicted based on strong evidence where it becomes reasonable to believe that they were guilty, okay? So in other words, the evidence does not have to be 100%, all right? It just has to be strong. And what I'm saying is there is so much strong evidence that specific incidents I mentioned are incidents of illegal hacks, okay? Illegal intrusions into the computers operating cell towers, and in other instances, computers on board vehicles, whether surface vehicles or aircraft vehicles. I believe that when this gets to court, all right, when this evidence is presented in the court of law, any jury will come to the reasonable conclusion that more than likely these were hacks and that they were done by the person, for at least some of them, who I allege did them, okay? So some of them may not have been done by him, but I believe many of them were done by him. And again, when the evidence is presented in the court of law, and I believe one day it will be, once the authorities actually start doing their job instead of ignoring this issue, once it's presented in court, again, the jury will not have to be 100% certain that he's responsible. If he's responsible for even only a few of these incidents, that's enough to convict him of some very serious crimes. All they have to do is be reasonably certain, okay, like over 90% certain that he perpetrated these illegal intrusions and manipulations into these devices, whether vehicles or cell towers. They only have to be like over 90% confident of that, and that will be enough to convict him. Because again, most convictions in the criminal courts of law, whether in Canada, the US, or many other countries, most convictions are based on strong evidence, not 100% facts, okay? Only on strong evidence. All right? This is how the legal system works. And again, I believe that once the legal system in the US and in Canada stops dragging their feet or completely ignoring these two issues, there will be convictions, all right? At the very least, I believe my brother will be convicted of some very serious crimes, including causing brain damage and death in a number of people. That's number one. Number two, there may be other people convicted as well, okay? Because for sure, other people also hack vehicles and cell towers. The only question is, how often, right? Okay, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you very much for your time and attention. And if I'm alive and conscious, I hope to be back with another video soon, and hopefully some podcasts and writings as well. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.